Welcome to York Region's Winter Maintenance Contractor Orientation. Today's agenda will cover an overview of York Region, professionalism, daily procedures and safe operations, material usage, plowing and spreading techniques, post-storm cleanup, salting, sanding, and brining sheets, and GPS. York Region roads. The Regional Municipality of York maintains approximately 4,200 lane kilometers of roadway, including 13 million commuter kilometers traveled daily. The region is split up into 4 maintenance yards: North, Central, Southeast, and Southwest districts. Each district is structured as seen in the diagram and consists of a district manager, 2 to 3 supervisors, 6 lead operators, and 2 operations technicians. Professionalism and safe operation. Professionalism. Operators are visible to the public at all times and need to keep in mind that you're representing York Region while maintaining the roads. The general public has up-to-the-minute reporting capabilities via social media platforms. Be sure to be courteous to all road users and pedestrians, and working cooperatively with local municipalities with regards to sidewalk and local road clearing. Be safe and be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of any potential hazards on your route, such as pedestrians, bridges, railways, sidewalks, transit facilities and cycling lanes, mailboxes, and street furniture. Be sure to take extra care when driving through construction zones. Daily operations. Events are generally as follows. All vehicles are to be fueled, filled, including brine tank saddles, inspected, and ensure gates are set to the material type to be used, whether it's salt or sand, and be ready to commence prior to any operation or event. Patroller will radio wire base to request trucks be called in. Wire base telephones the sand camp and requests a given number of trucks. The time is noted as call-in. The drivers are required to call wire base within 30 to 60 minutes of the call-in time for a book-in time and be ready to proceed. Book-in time is noted on the sanding, salting, brining sheet, and recorded by wire base. Trucks are loaded with the material requested by the patroller and proceed to spread material and/or plow on their assigned route for the plan specified. If unsure of directions by the patroller, you can contact him or her for clarification via the two-way radio or through the wire base or your camp foreman. The patroller will provide clear instructions. Continuous plowing and slushing off of the road may be required without additional applications of material, like in cleanup. If additional material is required, the operator must request permission to reload from the patroller. Operations continue until the patroller requests the trucks to finish their route and return to the yard. If operators believe their route is complete, bare pavement, curb to curb, or edge of pavement, they must contact the patroller before returning to yard. Fully completed, accurate, and legible salting, sanding, brining sheets are due by noon the following day. Trucks are required to dump off leftover material once given permission by the patroller and call wire base for a book-off time. Both book-off time and estimated amount of material dumped off are to be noted on the salting, sanding, or brining sheet. You are not to fuel up or perform vehicle maintenance before booking out. Directions or requests from the patroller may change the sequence detailed above. Depending on weather forecasts, drivers may be required to load material and drive to the end of the designated route in a safe place and wait on standby until further directions are provided by the patroller. This typically occurs during freeze or rain events. Any damage to signs, guideposts, poles, or other infrastructure, either personally caused or just observed, must be conveyed to the patroller. Stop signs or signal pole damage are considered top priority and must be reported to the patroller immediately. Route books. Route books are to remain in the trucks at all times. Each truck has a route book that includes route maps, radio call numbers, regional road numbering system, example of properly completed salting, sanding, brining sheets, and a copy of a blank salting, sanding, brining sheet for reference. Communication. Patrollers have 3-digit call numbers. District supervisors have 2-digit call numbers. Dispatch is addressed as wire base. Storm operations. An operational plan is outlined based on the weather conditions. The following are different types of plans used for different types of events. A Plan A is typically a combined salting or plowing operation. Plan B is echelon plowing. Plan C and E are brining operations or anti-icing operations. Plan F are all contractors. And Plan G are drifting. Plans may change or differentiate between districts. Material usage. Salt usage. Salt is effective above minus 12 degrees Celsius pavement temperature. It's used to aid in the removal of snow and ice and combines with meltwater to produce a brine. The brine forms a layer between the pavement and new snow to prevent bonding of ice to the pavement. Sand usage. Sand is generally used with low temperatures, late at night, heavy snow accumulation, and during continuous plowing operations. Sand is also used as a traction aid and is applied at a rate of 400 kilograms per lane kilometer for all roads. The following slide represents the typical pre-wet application rates that are utilized during different snow events. You can see the different ranges between frost, light snow, heavy snow, and freezing rain. Generally, pre-wetting rates are applied at 42 to 50 liters per ton. The application rate will always be dictated by the patroller at the start of the event or during the event if changes are required. Pre-wet application rates. This slide shows you that when using salt in conjunction with pre-wet, you achieve a higher kilogram per lane kilometer application rate. A few examples are, if you're applying salt at 50 kilograms per lane kilometer and pre-wet at 52 liters per ton, you can achieve a 70 kilogram per lane kilometer application rate. When you look at 170 kilograms of salt per lane kilometer at 52 liters per ton, its equivalent is 220 kilograms per lane kilometer application rate. Loading trucks. Each route has a calculated quantity of material needed for coverage based on predetermined application rates. Do not overload material, only load what is required for coverage of the route. Do not waste material. Apply only the material that is required for the route. Do not lose the load on the way back to the yard. Operators are paid for dump-off time, and liquidated damages may be applied per contract. This is an example of a truck that lost its load due to mechanical failure. The operator pushed the material to the shoulder of the road and did not report it to the patrol supervisor. This is not acceptable. All unused material is to be returned and dumped off in the salt shed at the yard. York Region has a salt management plan and is also governed by Ministry of Environment legislation. Material usage. Loading. Loader scales are to be used at all times. Only the amount of material required to do the route is to be loaded on the truck. Lumps are to be separated out. Due to distance to route, certain trucks have loading priority. These will be determined by the patrol supervisor. Plowing techniques. This is an example of a properly cleaned road. All snow and ice have been removed from the roadway. Shoulders are pushed back. This is an example of proper application on a 2-lane road. You can see in the picture that the left spinner is applying salt on the center lane of the road, allowing the salt brine to flow due to gravity from the center of the road to the shoulders. Railway level crossings. Operators must stop and lift plow slightly so that their plow does not get caught on the tracks. Rails, signals, or other related hardware could be damaged. Operator could be injured, and the truck or plow could also be damaged. Any possibility of damage to a rail or rail safety device must be reported immediately to the patroller and wire base. This is an example of a truck that had their plow down and hit the railway tracks. This was the result of that incident. The next several slides will provide examples of how to properly salt and plow single and multi-lane roadways. The first example is a first round of salt on a one-lane to one-lane road through an intersection. While going through the intersection, both spinners will be applying material through the intersection. Once leaving the intersection, only the left spinner is to be used to apply material. This example shows you, again, a first round of salt with a one-lane to two-lane configuration. Again, on your first pass, both spinners will be applying salt through the intersection. Once departing the intersection, only the left spinner will be used. On the second pass, while in the intersection, again, both spinners will be applying material. This example is multi-lane to multi-lane. You can see on the first and second passes, both spinners are utilized while passing through the intersections. And while exiting the intersection, only the left spinner will be used outside of the intersection. This is an example of a plowing and salting or sanding operation on a one-lane to one-lane roadway. Approaching the intersection, you are not applying salt. While through the intersection, you will be applying salt. Once exiting the intersection, again, turning the spinner off. When you come around on the other pass on a one-lane to one-lane road, you'll be applying salt with the left spinner only and salting and plowing the entire road and through the intersection. This is an example of a plowing and salting or sanding operation on a two-lane road with a multi-lane intersection. While approaching the intersection, you should be plowing and not applying material. Once in the intersection, you will be applying material on the first and second pass through the intersection. Once exiting the intersection, you will turn the spinner off and only be plowing. When you turn around on your route and come back, you will then plow and apply material with the left spinner only. This is an example of a plowing and salting or sanding operation on a multi-lane through a multi-lane intersection. While approaching the intersection, you should be plowing and not applying material on the first pass while in lane 1. Once in the intersection, you will be applying material on the first and second pass through the intersection. Once exiting the intersection, you will turn the spinner off and only be plowing on the first pass while in lane 1. When you turn around and come back on the route of a multi-lane road, you will then plow and apply material with the left spinner on the remaining passes. This is an example of echelon plowing on a multi-lane road. Echelon plowing. Heavier snow events may involve teaming up to perform echelon formation. The lead truck is on the left at the median or center line. Trucks in echelon formation must maintain a minimum safe distance to prevent commuter vehicles from trying to pass between. The lead truck must slow to the speed required by the last truck to slow for bridges and pedestrians. This is an example of plowing a roundabout. Whether there are one or two trucks plowing the roundabout, the operation should be as follows. First, you plow from the center of the roundabout, which includes the mountable center median if applicable, as to push the snow out towards the entry and exit curves of the intersection. Turnarounds will be required at each leg of the roundabout to ensure the snow is carried away from the entry and exit curves. Post-storm cleanup. Right turn lanes must be plowed back and cleaned up following a storm. This includes rounding your corners on municipal collectors and other regional roads. Corners must be rounded and snow deposited at an appropriate location. This does not include a pile at the end of the merge lane, so ensure to make the extra pass. Following a 3-point turnaround, the route is continued, turning the adjacent corner. The following diagram shows the safe procedures of rounding the corners, continued with a 3-point turnaround at a safe location, and continuing on with your route. Plowing of shoulders is only at the direction of the patroller. Early season shoulders may not be frozen. Be sure to have 1-inch clearance between the wing and the shoulder surface. Ensure the wing is positioned in a manner to not scrape or gouge the granular shoulders. When shoulders are suitable to drive on, pushing or winging back will be performed at the request of the patroller. This is an example of high winging. Drifting snow. From time to time, one or more trucks may be called out to plow back drifted sections. With a prevailing westerly wind, most areas of problem drifting have been anticipated, have had snow fence placed to eliminate drifting. Change in winds, extreme winds, or overloading of snow fence may lead to drifting areas. These are to be plowed back and treated with the material requested by the patroller. Typically, drifting operations use sand as an abrasive material. The two photos represent an example of drifting snow. Anti-icing. Anti-icing is the application of a chemical solution in advance of a storm to help prevent the bonding of ice or snow to the road surface or to help prevent the formation of frost or black ice. Applications could be to whole roads or just isolated locations, such as shaded areas, bridge decks, or priority routes, depending on the weather forecast. The region uses sodium chloride salt brine with a concentration of approximately 23% salt. Application is at a general rate range of 94 to 117 liters per lane kilometer at a speed from 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. Breakdowns and damage reporting. The patroller must be notified immediately in event of breakdown, and a breakdown time must be obtained from YR base. When operational again, notify the patroller and request an up and running time from YR base. If caught without notifying patroller or dispatch, infraction report and fine will be given starting at the patroller's estimated time that the breakdown occurred. If an operator is required to stop or pull over while en route, the patroller must be notified and the event must be recorded on the salting, sanding, brining sheet. As an example, you can write, pulled over to clean snow off wipers, must be recorded. Salting, sanding, and brining sheets. The single most important document in winter maintenance are the salting, sanding, and brining sheets. They provide accurate records of the location and time of where winter maintenance activities occurred. They're the main record used in litigation cases. The sheet data must coincide with the GPS data. Fill out timelines and activities when safe to do so. Do not fill out sanding sheets while driving. The sheets must be filled out properly and legibly. Written in ink, they work on a 24-hour military time. Driver changes and passing midnight require a new sheet to be started. Operational plan changes must be noted. They must be filed with yard personnel before noon of the next day. This is an example of a salting, sanding, and brining sheet. Examples of these sheets are also included in the route books that are in each plow truck. This is an example of the importance of having properly completed documentation. On Christmas Day in 2002, at 3:35 p.m., Mrs. Thornhill was involved in a collision along Green Lane after winter operations were completed. Her orthopedic injuries were serious and permanent. During trial, it was found that the plow operator did not keep proper record of his sanding sheets. According to the sanding sheets, the plow operator was in multiple places at the same time and/or had traveled in possible speeds. The conclusion was that both Mr. Shadid and York Region could not say without a doubt that Green Lane was ever plowed or treated at all. The judge ruled Mrs. Thornhill be awarded damages in excess of $1.8 million. Automated Vehicle Location, or AVL. All trucks are equipped with GPS and AVL information. The information is available at all times and provides real-time info of salting or sanding operations, spinner application rates, whether the plow is up or down, and whether the wing is up or down. This concludes the York Region Winter Maintenance Contractor Orientation. Thank you for joining us, and have a great day.